Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary, welcome back to the Dead Film Critics Society. I am one of your esteemed hosts, Aiden Billing. This is my other esteemed host, Daniel Enning. He runs reviewing on YouTube, and as always, I'm going to tell you I run GBD reviews on Instagram. Make sure to check out both of those pages. We make some great stuff. Now, as always, we're going to start off with the trivia questions. So,
Yeah.
Daniel, what do you got for me today?
Yeah, so my question's, I don't know if it's the most conventional one, but I wanted to ask you, which film does Cruella share a writer with, and also I think a similar character relationship? If you,
I wasn't aware that there was any connection to other films. I'm stuck at a loss. What do you got for me, man? What is it?
The Devil Wears Prada, which I know a good amount of people have said.
Well, yeah, I know
Cruella
people were
is the-
comparing it to. I
Yeah,
didn't. Is
they
there
share
actually the same writer on that?
they share a writer. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
they
Well, that
do.
makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Actually, I was gonna say. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
So there
yeah.
was
Nice.
technically four writers on it. Two of them did the story, and then two of them did like the actual screenplay. So I'm pretty sure the one who did the Devils Wears Prada screenplay helped do the story for Cruella, and they kind of do have a similar character relationship. So yeah.
All right. Sweet. Okay. Now, my trivia question for you is, since we're going to be talking a little bit about Emma Stone today, I wanted to ask you what was like Emma Stone's like first like big role, movies and TV included. I guess one of the roles that kind of got her into the mainstream a little bit.
I know one of her earliest roles that was went into the mainstream was Super Bad. That's the one
Yeah.
that comes first to mind for me.
Okay, yeah, that was one of them I was going to talk about, and also one of her like earlier TV roles was on Malcolm in the Middle, and that was 2 years before Superbad. I guess that's how they found out about her. So yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
All right. Cool.
Nice, cool, cool, cool.
All right.
All right.
Well, normally, so we're not doing news this week. We're going to do that next
Yes,
episode.
yes, my person bailed on
Well,
me
now,
this week, so we're not going to have anyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to do our trailer reaction right now to Old, which we already recorded. So you're going to see that now. We're going to change clothes.
Yeah.
No kids allowed on the beach? What?
It's not true!
Oh no! Oh no!
We never leave each other. Nothing separates us.
Are we there yet? You said 5 minutes. Technically, it's been more than 5 minutes.
Let's just all start slowing down. Wow, do you believe I found this online?
I guess it's not that secret a beach.
Whoa!
Who would leave this?
From the hotel! They're so rusted!
What's happening?
Found stuff from the hotel in the sand.
Ready or not, here we come!
What happened to her, Mom?
I don't know.
What happened to her?
The body has decomposed.
How quickly can that happen?
7 years.
But she just died.
Wait, where are the kids?
Trent!
Kara!
Come here!
Hey, have you seen my children?
Mom? I'm right here.
Dad, why are you looking at me like that? What's happening to us?
My daughter just turned 6 2 weeks ago.
Mom?
Whatever's happening to us is happening very fast.
You have wrinkles. There's something wrong with this beach.
What's happening?
Mom! Mom!
I'm scared! We have to get off this beach!
People are blacking out going this way.
If she makes it to the ledge, she might have a chance.
Why is she stopping?
Why's she stopping? Kara, wake up! Wake up!
They had to know what this place does.
I don't know! You're lying!
Look,
What is that?
Your message.
We never leave each other. Nothing separates us.
we're connected to something bigger. Oh no. We're here for a reason.
All right, okay, we're back. Oh man, that was
Whoa.
crazy.
Dude,
Man.
I changed outfits so fast. I
Man,
hope
we're
okay.
fast. Yeah, we're super fast. Anyways, we're gonna head over to our tier list now. We're gonna be doing a tier list on. So I kind of like the idea of doing studio ones that we did with Plan B because there's a lot of interesting films to talk about there. We're gonna do another studio, Film 4 Productions. They're mainly a British studio, but they've also worked on some American films. They worked on one of the movies we're going to be talking about today, The Favorite. And they've also worked on a couple other movies, so let me go ahead and share that with Aiden. Carol is our first movie. We talked about this on the podcast. Trying to remember, obviously I think the movies overall in the studio, or at least the ones I picked, are definitely of maybe a higher quality overall than the movies we've had in the podcast. So considering we put this at B, I think we probably could keep it around there. I'm pretty sure that's where we put it last time.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I still think this is a good movie. I don't know, I'm looking forward to rewatching it eventually. Probably should have been nominated for Best Picture. Great performances, good screenplay, well directed. There's nothing really stands out to me, personally, and I don't know why. So we can move this into... You want to keep it at B for now?
Yeah, I'm good with B.
Alright. Next, we got...
12 Years a Slave is done
12
by...
Years a Slave. So this was obviously multiple studios can work on a single film. Plan B did work on this, but also Film 4, mainly because Steve McQueen is someone involved with them, being British. Yeah, so I don't know. Last time we put this at A, I think it's probably a good time.
I think that's a fair score.
It's a very good movie. Next,
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
I love this movie.
I really like Shaun of the Dead. Even though I think it's I love all of Edgar Wright's films, even though I think personally this might be maybe his worst from my point of view, or maybe not his worst.
You clearly haven't seen The World's End.
I've seen The World's End. It's really good.
Really?
I like it a lot.
I like
I need
The
to
World's End,
rewatch
but
it.
I think that Shaun of the Dead is better, to be honest.
I need to rewatch The World's End, but they're about the same for me, personally.
Yeah.
But I do think maybe Shaun of the Dead was a better made movie, but I don't know. I just got a little, maybe the same amount or more enjoyment out of The World's End on my first watch. Yeah. But anyways, it's really great. I'm willing to put this at A for sure. Just kind of
I'm good with A too.
Slumdog Millionaire.
I have never seen this film. I've heard it's really good though.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely was worthy of how many Academy Awards it won, because there's definitely films that are better that didn't win nearly as many awards, but this was in a weaker year, so considering its competition, it earned most of them. And I think I don't think this is even Danny Boyle's best, but it's definitely one of his stronger films. He's a pretty good director. I kind of feel it about the same as Shaun of the Dead. I kind of want to put it high B though, because I kind of especially compared to these ones, it's I think there are better ones than Slumdog Millionaire, but still pretty good.
Yeah.
Widows.
I loved Widows. I thought it was pretty solid.
Pretty good. I think this is an 8 out of 10. I think this was a pretty good movie.
Definitely.
Well written. Steve McQueen again. Definitely not as good as 12 Years a Slave, but...
Also probably has one of the more underrated villain performances from Daniel Kaluuya in that film.
Is insane in this film.
He was the best part of that film, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, could be my...
So abruptly.
Considering the amount of screen time he had for all the times he was on screen, he might be one of my favorite performances especially from him. It kind of rivals, I think, in energy, his performance as Fred Hampton this year, which he won an Oscar for, but he's obviously on the screen a lot longer in Judas.
Yeah. But honestly, I love that one scene with him in the Widows where he's just in the basketball court and he just gives that guy the look.
That stare.
I know, right?
I can think of it instantly. It kind of that thing could haunt my dreams. Anyways, I do think this is pretty good, but I don't know I think high B, maybe around Carol, is kind of where I'm thinking. So I think this is about the same. I like
that's fine.
Those about the same as Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
The Lobster. Now, you haven't watched this yet.
No, I have not seen it yet. I've heard
another one from Yorgos
Actually, I really do
Lanthimos. You should see this. It could be your favorite Yorgos Lanthimos film. We'll see. I think it might be my least favorite at the moment of the three I've seen from him. I think I like The Favorite and Killing of a Sacred Deer better, but I do need to see it again. Still very good. At the moment, I'd say it's around Shaun of the Dead territory. About, low A. 127 hours. Have you seen this?
I've heard this is pretty crazy.
I watched it and I liked it a lot. I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
I think Danny Boyle, maybe some Danny Boyle's best direction, sound, editing, considering how much he's able to do with, such a small space, telling such an engaging story despite the fact that he's kind of just stuck there on a rock for most of the movie, pretty much all the movie. Maybe James Franco's best performance as well. He's very good in this movie. Totally deserved the nomination that he got. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is a little bit underrated, personally. I think this maybe is good.
I mean, from what I hear, it's pretty solid. I'm just surprised.
I just think, people. It only has like a 3.5 on Letterboxd. I think that's a little low. I think this is pretty great.
Yeah.
I
think people are going to be talking about it less and less now with everything coming to light about James Franco. Unfortunately, so
that's true, but it's still a good movie. I think Danny Boyle is also just a director that doesn't stand out to people because he's a good filmmaker, but he doesn't have a particular style that really stands out to people. But I think this is maybe his best or one of his best.
Yeah.
He does good movies, and he's done a lot of different genres as well, which is very impressive. The Killing of a Sacred Deer. We talked about this on the podcast. We have very different...
If it was just up to me, I would have put this at D, but since it's not just up to me, I think we should compromise here. It's something kind of...
I would put it S-A, so can we put it like low B, the lowest B? Is that okay? Put the lowest B.
Fine.
Because I do think it's very good. Yeah. Room.
This is a good one.
This is a good movie. I think I clicked on something accident.
I believe, didn't we watch this for the...
We did watch this for the Canada bracket.
Yeah, Canada bracket, yeah.
That we did.
It was a great film. Very good performance.
Very good. I actually haven't rewatched it. I'd watched it before we did the Canada bracket. I haven't rewatched it. I need to rewatch this soon. It's very good. I know the performances from both Jacob Tremblay and Brie Larson are great. The direction's very well done for it being in such a small space, kind of like 127 hours. So I think it's around the same quality for me as 127 hours. I might like it less than 127 hours, but it's around there. I can put it at
a nice
for now.
Story.
Yeah, it's
surprisingly very heartwarming considering the subject
matter. Yeah, but it's also dark. It's tough. It's tough, but also kind of loving. 3 Billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. Have you watched this yet?
I have not seen this one yet. I'm still waiting.
Well, this is on Disney Plus, so you should check it out soon. I think it's very good. Some people thought this film, they didn't like how it handled its pretty dark subject matter. I think it's really good. I like it better than Room 127 Hours, so I'm just going to throw it there. Obviously, you might have a slightly different opinion. I know this is one a little more divisive, but a lot of people like this film, and I think it's pretty worthy of the praise it gets. But also, I can see why it gets some of the scorn it gets, because sometimes it doesn't feel very human. It feels too unrealistic. The Favorite. So we talked about this. Are you sure
you want to talk too much about this before
we can just, I don't know.
Just briefly touch on it, I guess. I mean,
I guess we'll just...
Or should we even put it on the tier list, though? Isn't that kind of give it away?
Kind of does.
I feel like it's just going to give it away, you know?
Yeah. We'll return to this, actually. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Ex Machina. Have you seen this yet?
I have not seen Ex Machina. I've heard nothing but great things, though. I know it's done by the same guy who did Annihilation.
It is. I think this is better than Annihilation. I think it's smarter.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe better acted overall. Sci-fi I don't know. This film didn't connect with me. It didn't make me think. I need to rewatch it, but it the things it's trying to say about humanity, because a good amount of sci-fi films is what is it to be a man, and this kind of exploring that through the realm of AI. From a little bit of a feminist point of view as well, which is interesting. I think all that's pretty good, and considering that this is an original screenplay from Alex Garland, it's very impressive considering Annihilation and was an adaptation. I don't know. This is I need to rewatch it. I'm gonna put it at B for now, because I don't think all these, as you can see, all these films are very good. Obviously, Aiden does have the reason The Killing of Sacred Deer is lower is because Aiden doesn't like it. Because it's not fun. Anyways, but that's what we have for now. As you can see, all the film 4 has done a lot of great stuff. I actually forgot to put The Father up.
Oh, they did that one as well.
Yeah, they did. They helped do that one as well. You haven't seen it yet. I'd say it's around A, maybe lower for me. I need to rewatch it. Like the first time I saw it, didn't really have the impact I think that most people got out of the film, but Hopkins' performance has definitely stuck with me, and I can understand why people think it's better than Silence of the Lambs, even though I think his performance in Silence of the Lambs is still better. I need to rewatch both, and then I'll decide. Anyways, and we'll update you with the favorite after we talk about that. But yeah, that's our tier list for now.
Definitely. All right, sweet.
Yeah, these are all good films. There was a few things I could have included worse films, but most of their worst films I really don't know of or have watched, so I figured.
I mean, considering it's a new film, I think maybe we could talk about Cruella. So I think that might be the best thing to do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Unless you have a ton to say about it, though.
I don't really have that much to say about Cruella. Definitely.
Yeah, me neither, honestly. So let's just do that one first.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about Cruella real quick. 2021
it's a film which we definitely paid with. Which we definitely watched with Premiere Access.
Yeah, we use Premiere Access.
Definitely
support the mouse. He's kind of broken. He needs more cheese, or a hot dog.
Why would he want a hot dog?
Because that's his thing. He says hot dog.
God. I
don't know if he's ever eaten.
Did not watch Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, the Clubhouse. Yeah. I don't know if you've.
I never watched that show.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Come inside. We got drugs to hide. Yeah. Anyways, this was pretty good. I think. I think it was good.
Not too bad.
It definitely didn't surpass my expectation. I had pretty good hopes for this movie considering its cast and crew. Emma Stone, obviously. Emma Thompson, I heard, was great. The director, Craig Giuseppe, did I, Tonya, which was pretty close to getting nominated for Best Picture. The writer, one of the writers, Tony McNamara, actually worked on The Favorite. So these two films we're talking about today actually share a writer. Though it's clear that he didn't have a ton of passion for this project because this script, obviously he wasn't part of the story process. And it's a Disney movie that kind of obviously there's opportunities sometimes for directors writers to take a franchise and turn it into something that's kind of their own. There's clear signs of the writing style a little bit, definitely a lot less than the direction. Craig Giuseppe's signature style was definitely a lot more prevalent than any of the writing or really anything anything the writers. What I know about the writers, but I think that kind of comes from the fact that two people made the story, and obviously I'm pretty sure Disney kind of contracted that a lot. They wanted to make it simple and understandable for kids or young people very much. And then obviously the screenplay, it feels like they weren't given too many opportunities for great moments of dialogue either. And obviously I think there was a couple of certain lines they kind of had to shoehorn in there, and that kind of made it. Because I think what's maybe the worst part of this movie is the dialogue, honestly. I think it's not bad,
the dialogue
but it's
feels
pretty
a little
weak.
Bit,
it's definitely...
How do I describe this? It's not wooden. It's not super bad, but
it's not bad, but it's kind of weak. I kind of describe it... It's weak. I would describe it as weak, personally, because while it's not bad, it's not atrocious. It's just not, doesn't seem to, aid the movie at all.
I also wasn't the biggest fan of, I think Emma Stone was pretty solid in this, but I wasn't the biggest fan of her accent, I guess you could say. It kind of sounds a little bit weird. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if that's just me, but
that might be somewhat just you. I think she was trying to go for two different accents a little bit, trying to distinguish Cruella from Estella, right?
Yeah.
And I think she somewhat succeeded, but definitely not. She didn't nail it by any means. I think. And it's somewhat her fault, but I think the writing also doesn't give her the best opportunities to clearly distinguish those two sort of characters.
I did like the cinematography in the film, though.
I think it was good. I think that was maybe one of the strongest parts. I don't think it looks the best.
I think the costume design's also.
The costume design probably should get nominated for an Oscar. It was very good, dude, and it was a big part of the cast. It could compete for the win easily. I think so, yeah. That's definitely a justified one. I could see this also competing for production design since we're quickly on the topic of Oscars. Yeah. Everything else is probably going to be a nix. I don't think anything else will really be nominated. The cinematography, I think, especially from a camera movement standpoint, was pretty impressive. It was clear they focused a lot on that. They have that long shot that kind of reminded me of Goodfellas, when they're looking around the department store basement, which was weird because it's that location felt like one of the weirdest places to do a shot like that. It was also much faster and didn't look as good. It's I think this film looks okay. It looks fine, but I think where the cinematography is more impressive is the camera movement rather than the lighting, because that wasn't all that special in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this, I don't know. I haven't seen too many Disney live action sort of remake things. This isn't technically a remake, but it's obviously based off of a existing character that has been in a live action.
Which, you know what, that type of thing I'm actually kind of fine with. I would rather this than just a live action remake of an animated film, because like what's
Aladdin?
The point of that? That is just so lazy, honestly.
It's this is definitely a better approach to it, and also they're hiring a talented director, and obviously it's like they didn't obviously hold a gun to Greg Giuseppe's head and be like, you have to do a Disney movie. Even though I don't know, maybe they are. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to accuse. Like, it's not clear. I don't want to accuse.
I don't know, man. But I mean, I always seem to think that I don't know. Aside from the Marvel movies, obviously, it just kind of feels like the magic of Disney movies is starting to fade away a little bit. You know, it seems like it's very soulless at this point. And while this movie does have its moments, I will. It just doesn't really feel all that right, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of been the trend with a lot of the movies recently.
I would maybe argue that I don't think their quality has dropped off too much. Like a little, obviously a little bit. There's some clear difference. Like obviously some of the movies like The Lion King and Beauty and Beast probably won't be matched, but especially because of how corporate it's become.
It just feels a tad manufactured, though. That's the only thing.
Oh, for sure. I think every Disney movie feels, especially
Mulan, to be honest.
But especially, well, obviously the new Mulan, especially. But I think every Disney movie is manufactured to a point. But when they're able to hide it the best, I think was more in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
I totally
today,
agree.
especially. But I think also that we're maybe underrating a little bit. Just like I don't think a film like Raya, The Last Dragon, for example, will be viewed that much differently than something like. I don't know, Lilo and Stitch. I don't know if that's a good comparison at all, but like things that we found that we kind of have nostalgia for a little bit because there's stuff that we watched growing up. I think kids today will have some, and obviously this really isn't. It's really, I don't know, the PG-13 rating feel like it wasn't even really taken advantage of, but also that's like because I don't know, there's like alcohol. Like she gets drunk and passes out.
I know, but like,
that's like the most
PG-13. She would have dropped at least one F-bomb because you get one F-bomb in a PG-13 film.
They don't swear. I'm pretty sure. They also they say. Also, Emma Thompson's character goes like that little and then stops. I mean, you can say bitch in a PG-13 movie.
Yeah, I know, but that's the only thing, man. Because
it was clearly like they were trying to go for an edgier thing, but it was also clearly a movie that they were like, oh, we're trying to offend people in case families watched it, right?
Yeah.
It was like, but also they wanted to appear edgier for, I guess, I don't know, a sort of a Joker sort of crowd thing.
No, that's what I was saying. And like when the first trailer came out, I really got Joker vibes. Honestly,
This movie was close to a combination of like someone told me it would be a combination of The Devil Wears Prada and Ocean's 8, and now I kind of understand. They were kind of correct. It's kind of it definitely feels more like that.
Yeah.
I do think the acting is fun though. I think Emma Stone does a good job, and I think almost nails it. Again, her accent didn't bother me too much. I think she gets close to like trying to create two characters, Estella and Cruella. She's pretty close, but like I think lack of distinction on her part and the combination of writing kind of kills that to like truly be a great performance. It's still good and fun. Emma Thompson is good. I do think she was maybe a little overhyped. People said she was really excellent, especially with Emma Stone. I didn't get that too much, even though she was still good. Again, all these characters felt very one note to me. They weren't given too much depth. It felt like the beginning of the film felt especially silly to me with the whole like her blaming herself for that like Dalmatians thing, because that thing makes no sense at first.
Yeah.
The way they present it, they don't even try to like give a hint that it was clearly like Emma Thompson. But then of course later you get that obvious shot where it's like she's blowing the whistle and it's like pointing at her. But I don't like the way they present that just felt awkward. It's like why all of a sudden did the Dalmatians go after her? And then she blames herself. It's like it was confusing, and then it made more sense, but that doesn't really aid the movie. It kind of annoyed me a little bit at the beginning. There was multiple times throughout the script where I was just thinking to myself, oh, they're only saying this because Cruella already exists and Cruella is going to do X in 101 Dalmatians. They said that a good amount of times.
I mean, I guess that's the only thing that's really holding this movie back is it does have to conform somewhat to the loose timeline that
Yeah, like
the
obviously
future
they
movie
couldn't
is
go
telling.
too wild with it. They had to make it make
Yeah.
sense within the story of 101. They need to make it a prequel.
Yeah.
And I don't know, prequels in general. I don't know, prequels. When I think about prequels, I don't
Star
know.
Wars for me.
Well, obviously
honestly.
you think about but then of course when you think about good quality prequels, I feel like there's definitely a lack of them, right? It's
Yeah.
like obviously the Star Wars prequels are known for are pretty known for being prequels, and they're pretty weak.
Except for the Revenge of the
But
Sith.
even that, like I think it's good, but I don't think it's nearly
I
as
know,
good
I know.
as even like
Yeah.
I don't. I think I like the Last Jedi better than it maybe. I'd have to rewatch
No,
them,
no,
but
I think the
eventually.
Last Jedi is definitely a better film. Don't get me wrong, but I think
Yeah, and
just
it's like I very
movie
much like
storyline-
the last fight.
Yeah.
I love a lot. I think John Williams went very hard on the score, and that action scene
Yeah.
looks very epic.
He
But
always, dude, he always goes hard on
he
the
always
score
goes
though.
hard.
Like, when does he not ever go hard on the score?
The Post.
Oh wait, he did the post. I didn't
Yeah,
see that
and
one.
some of the more low key Steven Spielberg movies. I don't know if he did Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Man,
yeah,
I
like I
don't know.
said, the cinematography was clearly a Disney film, though. It was clear that they just built sets and had green screen a lot of the time.
Yeah, see that part I do find kind of annoying. I've never really I like it when films shoot on location. I know it's a bit
Yeah.
more expensive, but like, come on,
You're a
Disney clearly
Disney
has some
film. You can
that-
afford to shoot on fucking location.
Yeah,
for
like
fuck's sake. I
there's
don't
no
understand.
excuse not to do it.
I
I
feel
think
like
it would
there
look
was
way
definitely
better.
yeah, and I think
Yeah.
more of the money went into the camera movement, which some of it's very like that long shot, especially. But like it felt like a little bit of a misuse of it. It was kind of impressive considering how long it went and how fast it was going. There's also a lot of like it's a lot of shots that go towards the characters.
Yeah.
There's like I said, there's that like the one at the department store reminds me of Goodfellas, but like it felt like a wrong location to kind of show off in a shot like that.
Yeah.
There was this one specific scene where they're on like the terrace of the balcony, Cruella and Jasper. It looks extremely green screen. Like I think thinking about it, it might have been a reshoot. It felt kind of quite obvious. I do think it also drags on too much for its like twists and turns, and it has two sort of twists. Like it has like sort of a twist ending, and then it has sort of a twist before that leads up to the climax of the film. And those are fine. I didn't have a huge problem with them, but like I like them well enough to not complain about them, but also they're like a lot of the parts of this film, especially story wise, and technically wise, weren't good enough to like make me praise it, but also weren't bad enough to make me complain about it. The two parts I want to kind of compliment, other than the costumes, is like also the music. I think it's pretty good, especially the score music. Like Nicholas Britell did the score. He's always great. I think he did. I think some of his themes here, they're a little weaker than some of his other ones, like especially like Beale Street and Moonlight and The Underground Railroad now. A lot of the music was kind of forgettable, but there was two really good themes. Kind of like at his work with Adam McKay, he has like a couple of themes that I can sort of remember that are sort of good. They don't really help those movies that much. It's like, again, I don't understand how Adam McKay works with people like Bong Joon-ho, Nicholas Britell.
All right, settle down.
Yeah, but I understand that. Just like it confuses me every time. Like a project like this makes more sense. Like obviously Nicholas can't work with Barry Jenkins permanently, even though he still has done pretty much everything he's done. He's obviously going to do other stuff. But
I mean, I think
this makes more
movies,
sense
they've
to
always
me.
had, like, I think they always do like relatively.
He does a good job.
Movies.
I think this has particularly better, more memorable ones, especially for me. Like I listened to the soundtrack a little bit before, and those two themes were the songs that stuck out to me when I went through the album, and they were the ones that stuck out to me and were played the most, I think, during the movie. The covers though, and like the soundtrack in general, I think was good. It was kind of forgettable to me. It's like they have that Come Together cover. That's like the only thing I can remember, and that's only because I really know that song. I wasn't really interested in trying to find out what any of their songs were. Again, it clearly has those marks of being like, this clearly, like, Disney clearly, like Craig Giuseppe, has some creative freedom in the presentation to a certain extent. But I don't think those are enough to raise this movie to like a true peak quality. I think it's just like a good to like okay one. Most of the editing within the scenes is well done, but I think the pacing, again, like I said, I think it's too long. 2 hours and 15 minutes was a little unnecessary. And then, like, in thinking about it, they could have cut a couple characters that are kind of useless. The journalist character in particular, who's, like, you sort of meet in the beginning of that, like, you know, that school montage.
Yeah.
And then she comes back. She doesn't really do much. She does, like, nothing. She's the most useless, in my opinion. Was sort of a character you could, like, say, hey, she existed. And then, like, unfortunately, the fashion designer guy, pretty sure he's supposed to be, they said he was supposed to be gay. I think he's a little bit useless, too, unfortunately. He doesn't do much. It's like he's supposed to be helping them, but it's not like I don't know. He could have done that invisibly, technically. And funny enough, this also kind of reminded me of Euphoria a couple times with like the fast-moving dolly shots towards characters, like I mentioned before. That's a very prominent thing in a lot of episodes of Euphoria. But also the mirror thing to symbolize the change of time. I don't know if you remember that moment from episode 2 where Nate's character, like, you know, he's a young boy at the sink, and then he puts his head down, and then it comes up as him as a teenager. They kind of do the same thing here with Cruella. So it's just kind of funny.
I do like creative shots. Don't get me wrong. I think, like, you know, it was definitely something nice to see, but I don't know if it really makes the film that much enjoyable. It was definitely a good flex for, like, the cinematographer to show what he could do, right? But I don't know.
It also felt weird for like a Disney movie
I couldn't help but feel like this was just, you know, very average, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it was anything really special. I mean, I said, I
don't think so. And I think Craig Giuseppe's a good director, but also I think he himself isn't anything special. So then when he's kind of reduced by the Disney formula, I know it wasn't going to be anything amazing, but it was still good. I enjoyed it. Like, I was saying, the thing is, I watched like a couple of friends with my friend last night, but then I had to watch this obviously because I was going to be busy all day today before this podcast. So I started this movie at like 1 a.m. and this kept me awake and entertained, right? So I have to give it props.
No, it's definitely not a movie you should just put on in the background. I think it's definitely something that keeps you engaged. But for sure. I don't know if it's something that would keep me engaged enough to, like, you know, want to watch it again. You get me?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I agree. I don't think I would ever watch this again. Probably. But I do like some part. I'll still be listening to some of the parts of the soundtrack, and I will be rooting for this to get at least nominated for costumes. At the Oscars. So, anyways, with that all being said. Aiden, what do you want to give this for a score?
Just trying to think here. I think it's a tough one, but if I had to say just off the top of my head, the thing that comes to mind is I think it's just 6.5. It's not. I don't think it's a 7. I think it's just right in the middle of, you know, between being pretty mediocre and, you know, good. You know, I think that's kind of where it is for me. I don't know about you, but
I kind of gave it a similar score. I get like a 6 out of 10, but it's like closer to a 7 than like a 5. That's what.
Okay.
Yeah. Cruella, solid movie. I think.
Based on
what I know. I don't think it's worth that. My wallet is hurting. Wink. If you can go to a theater, A Quiet Place Part 2 is probably more worth it. From what I've heard, and that I don't know. I feel like that type. Even A Quiet Place, like, just kind of movie seems like a more worthy theater experience if you want our opinions on that real quick. Even though we don't have theaters right now, we don't even have We don't even have the drive-in that we have.
The drive-in would be sick, honestly.
Yeah, it might be open. It might be part of Step 1 or Step 2, which are happening sometime in July. But sorry,
that's good.
It's actually supposed to happen in June. I'm pretty sure, late June.
Okay, that's good. Because if there's a drive-in, I gotta go, man. Seriously, like, I've never been to a drive-in theater before. I've always wanted.
It's not the best. I would definitely rather be in an air-conditioned Cineplex theater or Film.ca, which is a great local place. Fortunately, they're not apparently going to be able to open until like the 26th of July, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I'll probably be at the drive-in a couple times, assuming it opens. There's definitely. I don't know. Maybe there is a chance that we could see In the Heights at a drive-in, so that would be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, we should totally go together if you want to do that.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
We can do that. But yeah. Anyways,
awesome.
We can discuss our personal plans later. Let's talk about the favorite.
Yes, of course. Yeah, the audience doesn't care about that.
The 2018 film by Yorgos Lanthimos, starring Emma Stone, who was also in Cruella. Rachel Weisz and Olivia Colman, as along with Nicholas Hoult. I don't remember the other. There's a couple others, but those are the main 4, I'd say, for sure. So I don't know. I want to start off by saying I actually wrote, like, you know, those journal entries we did for English. I did for like on King Lear. I related like I did a journal entry on how the favorite I think kind of expands on the characters that Shakespeare created in King Lear from a more feminist perspective. And I wrote a whole I'm pretty proud of this sort of essay / journal thing that I made. Is probably one of the best things I've written in my opinion for myself. So and what I really want to compliment about this film is that while I watched it, I think it's maybe not the best experience, but it's such a fun and well done film to think about, right? This is something I've been thinking about for a long time. I still think about it. I was thinking about it a lot after. Like I'd written this journal like 2 months or 1 month after I'd actually seen the movie. And the only thing I did was like look up a couple of quotes from the movie. But everything else I remembered, I could easily relate to like the stuff that we were reading for King Lear. And like just being able to be that memorable as a film, especially for Yorgos Lanthimos, who I think is a great filmmaker as well. Just like how well written this is combined with the great direction. I just it's a great I love this film. I think it's very good. It's a great film. It's really good on a rewatch as well, because I rewatched it. You've watched it for the first time. Still really good on a rewatch. I really like it a lot.
Well, I'll take your word for it, clearly, because the amount of times you said, Aiden, you should watch The Favorite. Aiden, you should watch The Favorite. And I was
Dude,
like,
I love The Favorite, bro.
We'll do it then.
I mean, there's a potential.
I totally agree with you, man.
Yeah. I might like A Killing of a Sacred Deer better. I have to watch it again. Maybe. It might be my favorite Yorgos, because I still need to see Dogtooth, which is like his first film, which apparently is still pretty good. But like the fact that I wrote
obviously I like this film better than Killing of a Sacred Deer. I think it's fantastic, honestly. Like everything, I don't know. I normally don't go for these type of period dramas, especially when it has to deal with royalty or high society. I can't stand that crap. But god damn it, this was entertaining.
Oh, for sure.
I loved it. Yeah,
it's a great movie.
Also, seriously,
I do theorize like. I look forward to watching it again a lot, though I think the experience for me wasn't as riveting as it was, and I think part of that might have been I was a little tired and maybe wasn't in the mood for this movie as much as I wanted. It's like, I think my brain couldn't balance the funny.
Definitely one of those films you kind of got to be in like the right mindset for. It was definitely enjoyable. I mean, like I got for this, but I guess like making sure I was wide awake, not feeling like too tired, so I could be 100% laser focused on every little thing that was happening. I think that's probably the best way to watch it. It's not one of those films you want to watch if you're just like after a long day, you just want to like lie down and be entertained. It's kind of something that you need to plan ahead in advance just a little bit. It's not like super draining, but I think it's definitely something you want to really focus on.
And I think I feel like I felt like I had a little bit of left brain, right brain while watching it, because I was trying to balance like, I'm enjoying this, because it's a little bit of a comedy for sure. It's a little bit absurd of a comedy, but still comedy in some ways. But along with also the subtle Germanic context. But I felt like I could only focus on one or the other, and I couldn't get the full experience. I don't know. I have a good amount of things to say about this film, because I think there's a lot of interesting things, like a lot more than Cruella, especially. I think it's really interesting to show the parallel between so in the end Abigail's kind of like the favorite. She ends up spoilers for a 3-year-old movie. She kind of ends up being the favorite, but it's really interesting that parallel between Abigail stomping like one of Queen Anne's rabbits versus then Queen Anne kind of holding on to her to like help her like get like rub her legs and stuff. It's like it's interesting to show like that kind of power dynamic and how like in the end Anne doesn't like they sort of comfort each other, but they don't really care for each other nearly as like same with like the bunny can comfort Abigail as well, but she doesn't really care about it. If she wants to, she can just step on it. But it's the same thing with Queen Anne. If she wants to, she can just step on Abigail, which is really interesting versus the relationship between Anne and Sarah, which is a much more caring one, but also one that because Sarah is honest with her, is a lot more confrontational, which I relate to Ran and King Lear, right? Because I also wrote the first part of this journal about Ran. The article was relating Ran to King Lear, specifically animal imagery, where I cited the master. But specifically, what I want, I think Sarah's a lot like the honest daughter is it Gon? It's not Goneril, I don't think. I think that's one of the evil sisters. But
Dude,
I know you don't remember. I'm trying to remind you a little bit, but even I can't fully remember, to be honest. But the more honest sister, right? And then by being more honest shows you care, right? But then it also becomes more confrontational, which I think is very interesting. It reminds me, it's like a great combination, I think, of King Lear, LGBTQ or lesbians, and then Barry Lyndon, which is also a really good movie. I think it's kind of a great... It's also... Because it has that mockery of the ruling class. Pretty great moments of comedy and satire. It's like... that naked fruit man, though, is definitely a bit weird. It's still the one that... It's the part of the film that still confuses me the most.
It's definitely very Yorgos Lanthimos.
It is, for
this
sure.
movie is... His style is toned down quite a bit here. Maybe that's... Get a little more, but there was still some elements of his traditional weirdness in there, and I think that was definitely the one thing.
I think he's trying to do some weird metaphor shit, which I know you're not always into. For me, but even the naked fruit man thing, I can't completely get into that because I don't really understand. My best guess and sort of theory that I like to create in my head is that it sort of represents how Abigail feels about her winning over Sarah. She's she's one of the people pelting the man with fruit, and that's the man is Sarah, sort of. And I don't know, and I guess it's just maybe a thing they did because royalty in the 1700s was fucking weird. Is another point. It's I don't know. It's also really insane to think about. It's these are the people who determine what happens to the rest of the people in the country, and they're fucking racing ducks and throwing fruit at a naked man. It's it's just wild shit. And then I think I loved a lot of the other moments. I found a little more comedy in it this time. I think that's maybe what I focused on the most personally. From a second watch, especially that moment where Anne says to find Sarah, and then the footman sort of moves it to find Sarah. She's probably long gone, but the footman just moves the torch ever so slightly to oh, I'm looking for her. It's just so pathetic because it's clearly Sarah's not in the room, she's fucking gone, but he's oh, I'm gonna look for her because he's trying to appease the queen, but he's what the fuck am I supposed to do other than to talk to someone? But he's just I think that was really funny.
That was
also
funny.
that moment where Anne is when Nicholas Hoult announces to everyone, it's oh, the queen has decided to cut the war, sue for peace, and then she's oh, I'm about to announce that we're not, and then she just fucking falls, and as the bailout, I didn't completely get that the first time, and seeing it again is just pretty funny. And like I said, I don't know, I just enjoy talking about this film. The acting again is fucking fantastic.
Especially Olivia Colman, dude. I think
she is great.
I was a little bit surprised when she won, having not seen the film back in the day, right? When that award ceremony was happening. But I totally definitely deserved. I loved her performance throughout the film.
Yeah. I do think also it should have gotten nominated for SAG Ensemble, even though it's not the most ensemble film because it's mostly just those four, and it's mostly those three. Yeah. It's mostly Emma Stone, Olivia Colman, Rachel Weisz, who's also very good, and earned the BAFTA that she ended up winning. She ended up winning a BAFTA for supporting actress because Regina King, even though winning the Oscar, wasn't nominated there, I don't think. The film is very well shot, I think. I love Yorgos' style of cinematography. I think I maybe like the cinematography of The Killing of a Sacred Deer better. That's one of the things. But this is still a very well shot film. The use of candlelight is very well done. And also those wide angle lenses, you'll never... I feel like no other director has the balls to do lenses that wide. But also it just helps to accentuate the absurdism of this whole movie. And I like that a lot. And again, and also I think maybe my brain wasn't in the mood for wide angles. That's what I kind of wrote. I don't know if I was in for that at the moment, but I still think it looks really good, and I really appreciate that Yorgos has the balls to do something like that, because I literally don't think any other filmmaker would do that. It's just a really great idea to kind of take a sort of true story, because this is somewhat happened, and then turn it into just an absurd comedy drama, which obviously I think is some of the best.
Idea, to be honest.
I think it's some of the best combination of comedy and drama I think of the decade.
That's probably why I like it better than most period dramas. I think it's just because it does something new. It's not dramatic for no particular reason. No, I think it's done
even
very
if it was just a straight up drama, I think this movie would still be excellent. I think it would lose some of its edge, but I think it would still be excellent because of how well written these characters are. And it's the idea. It's the writer Tony McNamara kind of made a show out of it with The Great, which I think is great. You should watch it. It's on Amazon Prime, by the way. And
All right.
you know, this screenplay easily should have won over KFC Green Book. I don't know why it has some of the, like, I don't know, this is one of the strongest screenplays I think of that year. I think this is maybe my favorite screenplay of 2018. I do like If Beale Street Could Talk, but I can't admit that I think the screenplay is a little weaker than this film for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you, I think Green Book was solid, but I don't know.
It's definitely weaker than this. I like Green Book.
I felt like it was
I think Green Book is fine. I don't. It's definitely not a Best Picture winner though. It's definitely not Best Picture winner.
Yeah.
Even though it is, I think Yorgos did a better job directing Killing the Sacred Deer as well, because I think. While I think the acting, obviously I think the only thing I appreciate about this film from a directional standpoint better is the performances. Because I do think the stilted way that the performances in The Kill of the Sacred Deer happen, while I really love Barry Keoghan in that movie, the rest of the cast, while good, I don't think this way they were acting worked for the movie as well as it did for, like, The Lobster. And then this more very clear, like, absurd way of doing dialogue and, like, acting in here was better. But other than that, I do think I like the directing of Killing Sacred Deer better overall. I think the sound was very subtle. Like, something like, obviously when you have a film this good, you want to think that almost every element is good, but I think the sound's pretty low-key. It's like not something that's being focused on too much, which I think there's a little bit of a missed opportunity there, but there's still all the basic sounds. There's nothing specific. The music is great, though. I really like how well the classical music fits in and kind of helps develop a character like Anne. You know, those certain scenes where she's like, you know, she likes music, but then it makes her, I think my theory is that it makes her think of her children. So then she's like, freaks out and wants them to stop playing, right? That's kind of my theory, at least. Because that's very clearly her more defined, like, tragedy. Yeah, and, like, again, the character van's very interesting, you know, it's like how, as, like, you know, you have to run a whole country, but then you're, like, you know, your past has been filled with so much grief, and you have all these physical pains, it's like, you know, it's, like, really hard for her to take care of herself, but then she has to take care of an entire country, which is why she kind of needs people like Sarah and Abigail around. But then at the same time, once Abigail's in charge, she doesn't really care about the country that much because of her tragic, but it also is like you can sympathize with her though because she was in such a bad situation before. She was a servant. Her father lost her in a card game. You know, she basically had to become a sex slave. You know, it makes sense why she wants to ensure comfort for herself. But then also Sarah makes a lot of sense, right? Because, you know, she just wants the country to do well. And even though she's being more tough on Queen Anne, it's like it's for the better for the country, right? She clearly loves her country a lot. But also it's clear that she, at the end, that she loves Queen Anne a lot, right? So all these characters make a lot of sense, and they're very well written. And combining their motives together into like a reasonable scenario is very well done. And again, I think that's one of the great things about the screenplay is how all these characters clearly want different things, but they clash against each other, and then the result feels very logical and reasonable. Which I think can be very difficult. Right? And I think it does a pretty good job at kind of subverting your expectations as to what each character wants. At first it seems like Sarah will do anything for the country, and she doesn't really care about the queen that much. She's just using the queen to ensure prosperity for the country. But then at the end, it's very clear that kind of Sarah almost cares more about Anne than she does about the country. But then at first you think Abigail only wants to, like, you know, she's just going to be like the good girl who kind of rises from the bottom, but then it turns out she's quite vicious and that she only cares for herself and is willing to do almost anything to do it, right? Yeah. And I think another good thing about this film is the subtlety of it's like I think the lesbian bits are handled better by Yorgos than like someone like Francis Lee did in Ammonite. While that's clearly a part of the story, he doesn't focus on it too much. Like a full sex scene between two of the characters would have been completely unnecessary, right? And but it also makes it clear that they are a lesbian. It's not holding back on that part as well. And it's clear, like, you know, there's clearly sexual innuendos is happening as well. But it's used very subtly, but it's communicated very well. It's not, like, pornographic, right? Which I think was also less so than from,
Because, I mean, like, I feel like, you know, that whole idea of being a lesbian in films can sometimes be portrayed purely as a sexual thing, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of just demeaning to people who are lesbians.
You know? Yeah, exactly. Like these characters are clearly so much more than, you know, being lesbian.
It's not just a fucking sexual thing.
Which is why I think these are like
who they are. Like,
exactly, and that's why you know, these characters being lesbian are some of the, like, you know, most. I mean, I guess you could theorize, like, it comes to me that maybe Emma Stone isn't lesbian. She just wants to kind of win over the Queen's affection, so she's willing to do anything. But it's clear that Rachel Weisz, and especially Queen Anne, is, right? So, but I think those are some of the best LGBT characters, in my point, especially from just like, you know, characters who just, I think, are very well written and just happen to be gay, right? But they also work in the fact that they're gay very well into the movie and the script, and just, it works all very well, right? Yeah, I don't know. I have some other stuff that I wrote down. I don't need to go through all of this. It's just kind of my own thoughts. Just trying to see what was maybe the interesting thing. I also think Harley, like, the character played by Nicholas Hoult, has like clear motivations for himself, you know, trying to make sure that the people kind of don't rise up against each other and the royalty because of all the tax that's being put on them. But also then, which is like, you know, he has a good he has a reasonable motivation as well. But then also, obviously, he is willing to do things that are like a little sketchy. Like, you know, clearly he didn't get the approval from Queen Anne to say that, you know, they're gonna cut you know, they're gonna sue for peace. But then also she has that moment where she pushes Emma Stone, so it's clear that, you know, he's kind of abusing his power. And again, yeah, like all this mockery again just kind of helps reflect on like what happens when a society puts their entire faith in like one group of people, especially people with this much privilege to, you know, do duck races. It's like, you know, you shouldn't do that. It's like, you know,
I mean,
like,
dude, I just feel like people back then in general had like way too much time on their hands. Though that's why they
especially when you're rich. Though it's mostly when you're
exactly,
rich.
Especially if you're rich, because you don't have to.
But I mean, it also is. You can see that as like something today. You know, it's like.
Yeah.
But I think I think rich people today even have more advantage because now they can like record this like the wacky things they do and put on YouTube, and like, you know, the average Joe is just like, oh, holy shit, this is insane, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think they even have an advantage in that. But also, Yorgos makes it very clear, yo, these people are just whack, dude. You shouldn't look up to them. They're
quack.
Fucking they're quacks. You know? Yeah. I think that's a great way to kind of end our discussion of this. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. Again, I love talking about this movie. I think
I can see that. I've just been letting you go, man. I know how much you love talking about it. I think you've brought it up. I don't know how many times, but I think you brought it up at least like a couple times over
I like this movie a lot.
Over all the episodes. So
I think there's other maybe more well done film experiences, but this is a film I think is maybe one of the best for just me thinking about it personally.
Yeah.
It's like it's such a fun film to think about and such a smart film to think about as well.
All right. Now, I hate to cut you off here, but we probably should give it a score because I know you could talk all day about.
I know. No, I was ready to wrap up for sure. Yeah. Scores. What do you think?
Ooh, okay. Well, first time seeing it, and I mean, like, obviously I didn't have the same experience as you did. I think it's good. It's not one of my favorites, but I still enjoy it quite a bit, and I appreciate your recommendation. I'd probably give it like 8.5, to be honest.
Okay, 8.5.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
I think that's reasonable for sure.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 9 or a 10 or something.
Yeah, I gave it a 10 out of 10, but I think it's like closer to a 9. I think it's really good. The fact that I can talk about it so much is like very few films can allow me to talk about a film this much.
Yeah.
And I think I'll be able to talk about it multiple times after watching it more times. Yeah. So with that being said, let's go ahead and throw it on the tier list.
Okay.
Because I think we should do
that. That would be an A, I assume.
I think it's an A. I think an A is probably a good place.
High A, though, just below S.
Just below S? We're not putting anything at S?
No, I guess not. But, you know, having pretty much everything around A or B, I think is pretty good, to be honest,
that's a pretty,
studio.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, anyways, that is the finalized list. Let us know if there's any Film 4 productions we missed. I did mention The Father. Which I know is sometimes I know a lot of people consider a 5-star movie. I feel like I'm one of the people who hates that movie the most technically, but I don't hate it. I still like it, but I feel like everyone just loves it, and I don't love it as nearly as much as most people I know. But anyways, let's go ahead and finish up. Let me adjust this. Let's go ahead and I guess quickly talk about film recommendations from the past week, because I actually watched a good amount of stuff and I've got a couple of things to say. I rewatched Children of Men last night.
Nice.
I don't think it was as great as the first experience, but still a very, very good movie. It's great. I like it a lot. I don't think I like it as much, maybe slightly less, but still very, very good. I also watched Arrival again. It's
nice.
fucking good. Oh, like I loved it. Like the first time I watched it was like on my laptop. It was outside. That was kind of a mistake. Watching it again, there were so many things I missed out on, and like rewatching it especially because there's a twist in it. But understanding that twist and being able to think about all the things that come with that twist on a second watch is really fascinating. This is also another great thinker film, but also it is a really great experience. Like the sound and the music, they're so good. Like I can't believe the music got disqualified because it used part of like another track, but it easily should have been nominated, if not competed for the win against La La Land. Like I think it's great. 2016 was a very stacked year for a lot of things. Like the movies some of the, like I don't think overall. I think some other years have more like overall like 8s out of 10s or better. But this year has like 6 or 7 10 out of 10s that I think are just amazing. And Arrival is one of them. It's so good. Denis Villeneuve and like the cinematography is so good. Like it uses, I don't know if I've ever mentioned vertigo. It's like a method where you like move the camera in but then you zoom out, so it kind of gets that like sort of distorted twisty effect. And it works very well for this movie. I think also all the other cinematography looks great. I can't believe it wasn't nominated for visual effects. Like, do you not see the shell right in front of you? It's like that was visual, and there was like the aliens, of course. It's like a really unique design that's really well done. And even though obviously they're not the most like they don't have a ton of like distinctive features as aliens, but they're still very well done. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think this movie was maybe a little underappreciated because it's really good. Again, the sound is incredible. The music's incredible. The performances are great. Amy Adams was also snubbed from getting a nomination. It's kind of disgusting. L.A. Confidential was another film I watched. It's on Amazon Prime. It's very
that
good.
is a good
Have
one.
you seen
Classic.
that? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. I think it's maybe my favorite Russell Crowe performance. I think Russell Crowe is, well, based on his Oscar success, I think he's overrated. He was very close to winning 2. I'm not sure if he should have any, but I think his performance in LA Confidential especially is very good. I like it. It's good stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any quick recommendations?
Well, I talked to you a little bit about this earlier. It's not so much a recommendation, just kind of like something to keep in mind if you want to see this movie. It's I saw Us for the first time last week.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. I mean, like people were praising this film, but I didn't like it nearly as much as Jordan Peele's other film, Get Out. I thought that was way better.
I think most people do.
Comedy
to be fair.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the comedy in that film is done a little bit better. The comedy in this film just felt really awkward a lot of the times, and maybe that's what he was going. It just didn't.
Yeah,
really work
I mean, he was clearly trying to go for like dad energy, especially with Winston Duke.
Yeah, I know, but it just I don't know.
The dabbing.
I found myself kind of feeling kind of bored though, to be honest. I mean, like I know what you mean, like dad energy. Yeah. So I mean, it didn't really throw me that much either.
Yeah, I think there are some great elements about it. Like the Pizza Nyong'o is really good. The music is really it's a really interesting take on. I got 5 on it. I think some of the shots look really good. The concept itself is really interesting, but the twist, because there's a twist, I think that was very underwhelming. I think that was a terrible. I kind of figured it out the whole time. I think it was a very, very weak twist. I don't understand why they did it. It felt kind of logical, but it was still a solid movie. I think it's.
Yeah, no, I definitely have to agree. I mean, but it's. I don't know.
Yeah, I think his next film will probably be better. The one thing I didn't
get though was why did they do the whole Hands Across America thing? I didn't.
That part is also a little. I don't know. It's
not properly fleshed out.
I don't know. Maybe it's a little more of an American thing. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, cause I don't...
But also, that sums up that pretty much. But I also watched another kind of. Honestly, it was exciting for. Is not too bad. Well, when I say exciting, it wasn't super exciting, but it definitely had some interesting moments. I watched Glass, the culmination of the Unbreakable film trilogy.
Because I watched that too. It's garbage. It's horrible. Glass is trash.
Like I don't know. It started off okay, but
no,
then,
it's horrible. It's trash. It's garbage.
I said okay. I didn't say it was anything good. But
I know,
I don't know.
But I say it's bad. I really don't like it.
It was just
it's very weak.
It was just so disappointing, dude. Because I mean, they had a great. I think the first 2 films in that trilogy were pretty solid. I liked Unbreakable.
I think they're both solid.
I like Split, but
they're both 6 out of 10s for me.
But
Glass is like a 3 out of 10. It's really, and it could honestly, if I ever bring myself to watch it again, it would probably be a 2, because it's
Like,
really
just,
very
just
weak.
like the fact that the twist ending is that everybody dies.
They
meaningless deaths, and they're all forgotten.
suicide
Like, how's
mission.
that's such an unsatisfying ending. And
Yeah.
I get sometimes that could work, but I don't know, man. I
It
didn't
felt
like
like
it at all.
Yeah, it felt like even though M. Night wrote those characters, it felt like he didn't give a shit about like giving them proper endings at all. He was just like, fuck it, just have them all die.
Yeah. What a twist.
The other characters as well, like Anya Taylor-Joy, like does nothing. Like the son does nothing. The mom does nothing. Sarah Paulson gets way too much screen time. Her character's so annoying, and like she makes a little more sense at the twist ending. But before that, she's just fucking annoying. You just think she's a complete dumbass.
What's the point of? I gotta ask you though. What's the point of CGIing a building into the Philadelphia skyline if you're not going to use that in your movie whatsoever?
Yeah, it's
aside
insane
from a
that
fake
this
out?
movie had much higher budget than both Split and Unbreakable, and they literally did shit. They did nothing with it.
Yeah, like seriously, what's the point of mentioning that in your plot and then just completely abandoning it in favor of?
Because it was trying to be a grounded
superhero
superhero movie. It was a grounded superhero movie. We got to stay on the ground. We got to stay at the hospital. But it felt like it was trying to, and then also like Samuel L. Jackson like blurting out like saying that this is the superhero trope that's happening right now. It's like, fucking, it's annoying. It's like I understand.
It is, man.
Why?
Honestly.
It was a mistake. It's bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yes, indeed.
Not good.
Those are the
what would you
movies I
give it out of 10?
watched. I mean, like,
I'm curious quickly, though. What would you give it out
sorry,
of 10?
what was that?
What would you give it out of 10, though, quickly?
I'd probably give it like a 4, to be honest. I mean, it was not big. I mean, like, it had promise at the beginning. I thought it was not the best start to the film.
It was an okay start, I think. Yeah, I was a little more optimistic. I was like, maybe this won't be shit. And then it was shit.
Yeah, and just the fact that like looking back at the trailer, it literally showed the movie from start to finish, and I hate that. I can't tell you how much I just didn't realize that.
Very unfortunate.
I thought there would be more, but no, I'm just an idiot, man. Keep getting duped by the film industry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be watching M. Night's next film. I'm gonna be watching Old. It looks like it could Old looks like it could be really bad. Not gonna lie. You have seen our trailer reaction to it. It looks like it could be good. It could its peak is like.
It could go either way.
It could. I think it's a film like that could. I think it will either be okay or it'll be complete garbage. I don't think it'll be like.
Yeah, like
Glass.
I think if
I don't
it's
think it'll
gonna
be
like decent,
or I don't think it'll be like boring. He's clearly going for something here, and he's either gonna sort of get it or he's gonna fail miserably. I'm kind of leaning towards failing miserably, to be honest. Even though I like the cast, and I hope that like these cast members saw something in the script, like Thompson McKenzie, Gael Garcia Bernal, and Vicky Krieps. But I don't know. It's M. Night, man. I mean, you never know. Anyways.
Yeah, you never know.
We talked about this for a while enough. I think we should try to focus on what we want to do for our next episode.
Yep.
Doesn't look like we'll be able to see Quiet Place Part 2. I don't think we'll be covering that because we can't see it here because there's no theaters.
It's not available to rent either. So.
And it's not available to rent either because they're doing an exclusive theater window. Which I'm somewhat in support of because, like, it's cool to see things in theaters and to force people to go to theaters to help support them. But at the same time, it's like I kind of want the option to, like, watch it at home if something like this is going on. Or even if I just don't want to spend the money on a movie that's just lesser, not as good. Like, if I want to see, like Cruella, it's like I can appreciate that I can see Cruella at home by getting premiere access, wink, and by having that option, right? Because wouldn't be something I would really be like, yeah, I'll go to theater to see that, right? If it was only in theaters, I'd be annoyed. It's like I sort of want to see it, but I'm not going to go to a theater. But anyways, I think we should try to it's not been too long, but I think we should do another director duo movie. We should do 2 more movies from the same director. So here are the options that I kind of thought of. Ari Aster for Hereditary and Midsommar. Paul Thomas Anderson for Magnolia, Boogie Nights, or Punch Drunk Love, two of the 3. Chloe Zhao for The Rider and Songs My Brother Taught Me. Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu for Babel and Beautiful. Charlie Kaufman with Anomalisa and I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I don't know. Which one are you thinking? Those are kind of the ones I had.
I like my man Alejandro, but I also am interested in seeing I'm Thinking of Anything. So I think it's I don't know.
Have you seen any like Charlie Kaufman's movies? He did like the directed ones. He did Synecdoche, New York, Anomalisa, and I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Have you seen any of those?
No, I've not.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no problem.
Fucking Charlie Kaufman. I'm fine with Charlie Kaufman.
All right. Sure. All right. Well, next episode we'll be talking about Anomalisa and I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I have seen I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I really like it, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Anomalisa. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I don't know. We'll see you guys in the next one. See you guys.